Leo reporter. Could we discuss after session?
Um, will be better, I think. Okay,
Okay.
right. We'll
What
discuss
about
those things.
database connectivity?
Database connection is again connection and all is a part of the customized things. You can reach out to me
Okay,
anytime. You do not have to wait for sessions for those things. Whichever is not available in the course content and you need a help, you do not
yeah,
wait for the session. You can directly ping me.
okay. Actually, we are using SQL Server Management Studio.
Okay,
Um,
understood.
so is that fine if I can reach you
You
anytime?
can reach out to me for any other things. If I know the
Okay,
concept, I'll definitely help you. If I do
yeah,
not know,
sure.
I'll take you like few days of time and we'll explore and we'll definitely let you know. But
Yeah,
I'll never say no,
yeah,
not to help.
sure.
Okay,
That
right.
sounds perfect. Thank you.
Okay, great. So let's get started over here. As we discussed in our previous session, um, that Jenkins also have given inside the document itself. If you see this one, so let's follow that and we'll set it up a Jenkins job inside the Jenkins. That will also help us to basically set it up the complete Jenkins. So over here, few of the concept in terms of the keyboard actions. Downloading a file is a simple, very easy. It does not require a much. Again, it's simple. So it's simple, very simple in terms of how did we handle multiple windows. There we had to handle a pop-up event. Here we have to handle a download event. And calendar selection is again one things we'll see. Okay, so let's get started and start with the Jenkins first, and then we'll move on to the left out part. Jenkins selection, Jenkins like setup over here is again like few of the things that we have to do. We can like follow the same steps that I have given over here inside this, and then let's see how does it take us to the Jenkins over here. Okay, so first thing that we require is to have Jenkins installed in our system. So as we are inside, whenever you work inside your organization, they'll be providing you, or there'll be a DevOps team who will be helping you to set it up the Jenkins. If they are not like are no DevOps team, then they'll provide you the authentication like username and password for you to set it up like Jenkins inside the inside the Jenkins. Basically, they'll provide you the authentication username and password for the organization, and there you can create your job. Okay. First thing, let's install the generic. Again,
Before you do that, Praveen,
mhm,
I actually never used the Jenkins.
mhm.
So is it Jenkins similar to the GitHub pipelines or GitLab
I'll come to that.
pipelines?
I'll come to that. Exactly. It's similar to GitHub Actions that you see, but Actions generally, what do we do is um, the GitHub pipeline, exactly similar. So what it does is like it takes a scripting part here. We can set it up with the UI as well.
Oh,
We'll explain you what happened in terms of a Jenkins and all,
sure, sure.
right? And this is what we are going from a complete basic over here. So Jenkins, what is basically a Jenkins? Like before we go for down. So Jenkins is a server. Is when you work inside the organization, you'll be using a cloud version. When you work inside your local system, you'll be working with a free version of Jenkins. Right. So Jenkins available in like Jenkins are available in two form. One is free, and second is paid version as well. Paid version will have advanced level of configuration, and now Jenkins free version will have a basic configuration, which will be sufficient for running inside the Jenkins for the um, your test automation. You can create also a job which can run automatically at certain point of time and so on. Okay. Now, whatever the setup we'll be doing over here will be equal to an almost the similar setup we can do in the same um, sorry, not same, but in one of a server known as Azure pipeline. So Azure pipeline and Jenkins have almost similar setup. A slight difference there are where the UI for the Azure is much better than the Jenkins, but the steps becomes the similar kind of things inside the Azure pipeline as well. Okay, so Jenkins is a cloud version. It's basically a server which helps us in executing either a development pipeline, whatever you want to execute there, or if you want to use for the test automation, then it helps us in executing the test automation on the server without taking the help of or without depending on the manual intervention of execution of the test automation. Jenkins have given a feature where you can also trigger the test automation manually as well, and we can also set up it to run at a certain time. Let's say what happened in terms of an organization is generally we run the test automation suite on a daily basis, which we call it as a smoke suit or regression suit on the weekly basis or twice in a week. That have been set it up every day automatically, and that is what is possible using the Jenkins and other CI/CD pipeline as well. In terms of a Jenkins, it also has given a one user-friendly UI which we can navigate to and set it up everything plus everything in the sense to set a job inside the Jenkins, which help us in executing the test automation, whichever we are trying to refer in terms of the repository. There are again two ways happens. One, whenever you have a public repo, which will never be the case when you work inside any of the organization. And when you have a private repository, so there are two different ways in which we have to access. One, if you have a private repository, let's say for your practice setup, there we do not require any kind of authentication to be provided. But it's always better to provide them the authentication so that it will pull the code from public repository. But in terms of a public repository, whenever we are working for our practice purpose, we do not have to provide any kind of authentication. But for private repository, we have to provide authentication. Authentication means provide them the access so that they can pull the code from whichever repository that you require, which also we'll see in next 15 minutes of time. And nowadays, Jenkins requires a token to be generated, not using the username and password. That token will have a certain expiry time. Depending on certain expiry time, we have to again change the token over there. That also we'll see how do we provide those. Okay. So let's move over here and see how do we do that. Inside the document, I have also given generic Java package, which is also known as .war file. You can simply click on this and it will download. Second thing is to set it up Jenkins, we need to have Java available inside our system. To set it up Jenkins, we also require Java available inside our system. And in our previous session, one question was by Kavita saying, for monocard report, do we require a Java? No. For monocard report generation, we do not require any Java available. Okay, so let's go over here, or let's go to the website as well. We can go over here and then we can set it up. So let's go and say it as download Jenkins. And from here, we can go to the download and deploy. Here, again, they'll mention some stable version that are available in the market. Whichever stable version are currently available, depending on our, again, operating system, we can select, but it will always be available in the form of generic, which is for all the type of operating system. So here we can go and whichever you see that available as an LTS. This is one you will get it in the left side, and second you'll get it in the right side of the application. Right side will not be a stable, but that will be a latest version. The left that will be basically a latest version which is available in the market right now, and this is the latest version that are available over here. You can simply click on this. As soon as you click, this will start downloading the file. Somehow it is not working. Okay, so the similar path I have also given over here inside our document. From here looks to be working. So this is from get Jenkins similar application. Okay, now it started working over here, and it started downloading the things, which is generally for you it will be a Jenkins.war. For me it is one, because I believe like just now before a session it started one more over here, right? So let's delete this. Do I have any other things? Okay, so generally it will be downloaded as a Jenkins.war file. So let's make it as over here, which is Jenkins 1.1. Okay, so this Jenkins have been downloaded now in our setup. Once you just have to click on this. If you just follow the document as well, our document that will be uh, inside this as well, I have given a document, plus inside the GitHub as well, I have uploaded recently the document, plus which was this document you will also be able to see. But inside the GitHub again, that is available inside a private. Should have you should be having the access to. And then second one is the second step. So with this, like we have installed the Jenkins inside our system. Second step is to open command prompt and go to the folder where jenkins.war file is stored. You can store at certain places, or by default it will get stored inside the download folder. Okay, so let's open either a command prompt or a terminal, whichever. If you are working with um, Windows, then either you can open a command prompt or terminal. If you're working with Mac OS, then you can open a terminal over here. Okay, so second step is open a terminal and then go to the specific folder where you have stored the Jenkins. By default, it is available inside a downloads, which you can see over here inside my system, which is available at downloads, and then Jenkins 1.war. So I'll just go to the downloads folder. I have moved to the download folder, and from here, that means we have moved to the folder where Jenkins is available. Now the third thing is, what we have to do is we have to first start the Jenkins server, right? So you have installed, and after that we basically have to start the Jenkins server so that we can start working with Jenkins. Whatever the setup that we have to do, we can do over there. And to start the Jenkins server, as I said earlier, we also require a Java. We just have to type whenever you try to execute any war file. Whenever you try to execute any war file used to be a Java generic package. A generic package it used to be, which is having an extension as .war file. And whenever you want to execute that .war file, we have to take the help of Java, which is the similar code. Any war file, if you want to utilize, you have to say it as a Java space -jar space the file name that it has generated, and then whichever port that you want to run this particular Jenkins to. So every time, whenever you run any software, right, that requires some kind of port to be available. Port means like it will just do a connection between a client and server over there on certain port, certain HTTP port. Okay. By default, it will start on 8080. If you have not provided any port over here, by default, it will start on 8080. But if something is running already inside your system on 8080 port, then you have to provide some other port over here. So if you do not provide this, in that case, it will automatically take 8080 as a HTTP port.
It will
Okay.
be a best practice to use above 8080 port, right?
There might be a chance because by default, what happens is like whenever you try to run any kind of server inside your system, by default, it takes 8080. So
Yeah.
if you're not aware of if anything's running on that, then you can basically provide this. If you're aware of there is nothing running on that, then probably you can use 8080 as well. Okay. Now, this is basically a command that we have to run at the place that we have moved over here to execute the .war file over here. So I'll just make it as 8080 because I know that there is no server running inside my system right now. Okay, and then you have to hit enter. What it does is whatever Jenkins or Jenkins that are available inside your system, whatever it is available, it will just go and start reading that particular file. After completion of reading, it will open the server, whichever server is either a Jenkins or sometimes you will also be going for Apache to set it up like to work with like um, advanced version of Java and so on. So there we can use it. Now in this case, what will happen is it will go to the Jenkins one.var, start reading, and as soon as it's complete reading, if everything goes well, it will say like your server is up and running. So just hit enter after this and see. It is now have gone to this particular file, it started reading the complete Jenkins.war that it has that it basically has installed in our system. And then at the end, it will also mention over here that which port that it has used. So you can also see over here that started server connection at certain port. Which port that you can see also over here, which is 8080. All the things that it also has to basically read from the Jenkins file that we have basically um, recently downloaded. It has already started reading it and saying that upgrading Jenkins the last like from the last previous time whatever whenever I have run this Jenkins server, from there it is trying to upgrade something over here and from some version to some version because the last time that I used a Jenkins was 2.49 and currently we are trying to use a 2.50. So if it is already available inside your system, then it will try to upgrade that automatically. And if everything goes well, then perform the action check, update server successfully at attempt one. It will basically give you the message saying that Jenkins is fully up and running. When it gives you a message saying that Jenkins is fully up and running, that means you can now open this Jenkins server inside your local system. And how do we open this is, so as we see over here, this says that you can run on this particular server. 0.0.0.8080 is the port name that you have to use. Instead of this, you can also use by default, which it takes 127.0.0.1 colon, and I'll just show you how do we run that. So after successful start, so it basically starts the Jenkins server over here. Okay. Let's go and see how does it start over here in this. So I just written one, I just posted one blog on Medium. That is what it was open. Okay. So so here again, you can go and simply say it as localhost colon 8080. Inside your system, inside your local system, you can also say it as a local host, and it will by default also take the 127.0.0. What is that? So 127.0.0.1 is equal to your local host that you have given. Local host means you are saying that you're running inside your local system. Okay, for cloud version, whenever you go inside your organization, you'll get the name of the Jenkins first along with your organization. Okay, so as soon as you hit enter, if it is successfully, if it displays over here a message saying that successful, which is Jenkins is up and running over here, it will display you this kind of UI. Okay, it will display you this kind of UI. But it has basically taken me to the sign in because the previous step of this have been set it up automatically earlier by me in the last run. So what we have to do is for the next whenever you try to open it for the first time, right? Because you will be installing it for the first time, so it will provide you the password. As soon as it launch, it will not directly take you to the sign in button. It will give you a password for you. It will generate a password for you. So here, after successful start, it will generate a password for the first time you set it up the Jenkins. It will display over here a password. I cannot do anything because it only allows for one time in any of the system. So
Like
it allows,
administrator password, right?
sorry,
Administrator password. It will be long characters
right, right,
encrypted.
correct.
Yeah.
So that will be a very longer one, and it also gives you a path. Above to that, it will give you a path that I have set it up at. I have stored your password at certain place. Okay, but that is again one time usable. So always remember that whenever it generates a password, copy paste somewhere. For me, I believe I should have copy pasted somewhere over here. But that is again one time. After that, it will never give you. So this is the password. This is how it looks like the password. Okay, for me, it generated like this. For you, it might generate in some other way as well. And so that will be the password it will generate. It will also give you the path where it has stored automatically stored inside your system as well. The password. That path also you can copy. Somehow I was not understanding that when I like set up Jenkins around a few years ago inside my system, and I did not copy that. From then, I don't know like where it has stored basically. So in terms of this, it will generate you the password. That password you have to copy, and then the username by default will be admin. Username by default will be admin. ADMIN, admin. Okay. After that, after setting up this, the fourth line, which will generate you for the password. After you copy paste that, it will give you an option to click on next button. Okay. That again I cannot open again in my system, which will give you a option to click on next button. As soon as you click on next button, you'll get one window with certain like this window, where in the left side they'll mention some plugin availables. Okay. Uh, in complete window, they'll mention one plugin available. Any question over here?
Yes, Praveen.
Yes.
From in my system as well as I install in parallel with you, but where I
Mhm.
can find the password is stored, any instance that.
It will generate you on the application itself.
I loaded with localhost 8080, but I don't
Mhm.
see the password there. I see what you see.
The sign-in option.
Yes.
Did you install earlier anytime,
No,
Jenkins?
no. I think this is the first time I installed.
It should not take to that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. Okay, I'll come back to that. We'll connect with
Mm-hmm.
you.
And another thing is
Okay.
that when
Hmm.
you in the command prompt you applied 9090 port. Um,
I'd given
here
8080.
in 8080.
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, fine.
Okay. So, okay. 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 Let's move over here. I'll come back to that. I'm side by side. I'm also trying to install in one of my personal laptop, which is bit slow. That is why I have not joined on that. But let's see. If I get it over here, I'll connect back inside that. Okay. So in after that, like after you set it up, the um, after you click on the next button, you will basically get one again screen over here, which will say you as um, which will basically give you an option to install the plugin. There'll be two options: customized plugin and recommended plugin. There'll be two options given. One is a customized plugin, and second is a recommended plugin over here. Okay, so you just have to click on recommended plugin. Whatever is basically recommended to work with Jenkins, it will automatically install. It will take few minutes of time to complete the setup for the Jenkins, and after that, it will take us to this particular page. After completion of Jenkins in like the plugin installation, it will take us to this particular page. Okay, let me just give like 30 seconds of time. It have been installed in my other laptop. So I'll just check what kind of option that it is to display. Or else, anyways, like I'll take a time at the end and we'll see. Okay, so it will basically take us to the login. After that, like after installation of a recommended plugin, it will take us to the login page. Login into the Jenkins by using a username as admin and password which it has been generated at the line number 4. After successful start, it will basically generate, and there we can check the password over here. Second, you can also create a new user and password, but for that again we have to remember the password that it basically had generated at the first time. Okay, so that username and password we have to use. You can see like in my system, again I'm using the same username and password, which is admin, and the password that it had generated for me, which I was displaying on that. This is the password that it had generated. Okay, provide the username, provide the password, and click on sign in. Okay, so after successful validation, it will basically take us to the Jenkins dashboard over here. Jenkins dashboard over here. I think I have used it 3 months ago, last time. Okay, now this is the Jenkins UI, Jenkins dashboard. This is the complete UI. How does the Jenkins display, like Jenkins UI looks like? This is a free version, so it looks like in this way. In the advanced version, which will be a paid version, this will display in some other format. You will get basically a colorful UI where you can try to generate there will be other options as well apart from this. Here are very limited things that are available. Okay, so after logging into the application, it will take us to the go to dashboard, basically take us to the dashboard. So in this, from the dashboard, we also have to install certain things. So if you still remember, like in terms of working with Playwright, we require a Node.js to be installed in our system. We also require Playwright to be available inside our system. And when we work with like specifically with TypeScript, then like TypeScript comes into picture, but here Playwright will automatically be taking care of the Playwright and TypeScript part as well. So certain things that we have to install when you have started working with Excel, we have installed a plugin which was like XLSX, like a package kind of. When we have started working with Allure, we have also set it up Allure. So Allure also we have to generate the plugin over here, right? So some plugins will be automatically available as a part of the recommended plugins installation over here. And some plugins we have to install it depending on our requirement. So one of them is known as Allure Jenkins plugin that we have to store over here so that it will generate the report in the form of Allure as well. Okay, let's go over here. And what it says is go to the dashboard, and from dashboard, go to the manage Jenkins. From dashboard, you can go to manage Jenkins, click on this manage Jenkins over here, and it will take us to the different parts over here, where one of them available are this one, which is plugins. So it says go to the manage plugins or manage Jenkins. Earlier it was having a name as manage plugins. Now it have been recently changed to manage Jenkins. And then go to the plugins over here. Go to the plugins. And from here, you can go to the available. So you can go to the install plugins and check what are different plugins that it has already installed. It will install as a part of the recommended setup. So all these things that you see, apart from the Allure Jenkins, everything it have been installed by default by the Jenkins at the time of clicking on install recommended Jenkins. I have not done any other things except the Allure plugin. Everything it will automatically install, which is related to GitHub API. If you are working with that, also will get automatically installed, and so on. There will be a lot of plugins that it install automatically. One of them that we have to install, you have to go to the available plugins over here, and from there you can search Allure. For you, it will be available inside Allure. For me, as I have already installed, so it is available inside in this one, which is install plugin over here. What you have to do is you have to just search for the plugin, which is Allure, and then click on that checkbox. Click on that checkbox and click on install button over here. Simple. Search for the plugins, which is Allure. Okay. Search for the plugins, which is Allure. Check the checkbox for that particular plugin, not for all. Check the checkbox for that particular plugin and click on install. As soon as you click install, it will take like in between 10 to 30 seconds to install that plugin and will be ready for you. And once it have been installed, basically you will see that will be available inside your install plugin. So it checks basically how it does work is you have checked over here and then click on, instead of update, you'll be clicking on install, and this will take us to this particular screen. Okay, where it will say either it have been passed or failed. Generally it will display a success. Due to some issues it is not able to handle it over here, but once it gets success, you can see that inside your install plugin. So you can go to the install plugin, and whichever you have recently done, that will be displayed over here. Okay, so this we have to install as a part of Allure report generation. Again, it is mandatory when we basically work with Allure reporting over there. Okay, now the next one is now it is asking us to select the basically search for like go to the dashboard and start creation of your pipeline or the jobs that you are trying to create it over here for the Jenkins and for your test automation. So it says that go to dashboard, click on new item. So let's move over here, go to the dashboard. You can directly click on dashboard. You can also click on from here as well, which there was option, I don't know. This have been recently updated. Okay, there used to be earlier from here as well, but it has like now fully moved to this one. So go to the dashboard, click on new item. What we are now trying to do is we are trying to click create a job over here, a Jenkins job, which will start working on our test automation. That means which will basically start creation of a job which will automatically run our test automation. Okay, so first that you have to give the name of the job that you want to create over here. So name, you can provide like depending on, generally inside the organization will be providing the name of the repository plus the feature name, like feature whatever you are trying to work on. So let's say I'll say it as some meaningful name, let's say, so that I can identify PW. And this is for March 2025. Plus some random name I have given over here. Okay, this becomes the job name over here. Job name inside Jenkins is a server where we have to create a job. Where we have to basically create a job. What is job? Job, you are creating one as a part of a project over here. In terms of a project, it basically consider it as a job inside the inside the Jenkins. Okay, and then you can click on a freestyle project over here, a freestyle project, and click on OK button. So it will create a project which is also known as a job inside the Jenkins. You can see that it says that this is a job having a name as the name that we have given. And as soon as you click on OK, it will take us to the configuration. Because we have not set up anything right now to run your, whichever you are basically trying to run it over here as a part of your test automation. Right, so we have to give, again, Jenkins is a server where we have to provide complete information so that it can go to a certain repository and from there it start working on. Right. Now, as a part of our set it up over here, let's again go back to setup over here. It says that enter an item name that we have already done and click freestyle project, click on OK button. Now go to the source code management. There is an option inside the configuration, which is source code management. You can either click on directly this, or you can scroll down and from here you can select the Git. Generally, you are trying to run your test automation from the GitHub, right? Your code is available inside the GitHub, or even if it is available inside the Bitbucket, you can also provide the URL over here. But for that, we have to select a Git over here. Select a Git and then provide the repository URL over here. In this case, we have to provide the repository URL, whichever repository that we are currently working on. Repository means the repository that we have created for our, like inside your organization repository. For our purpose, it will be a project that we have created over here, right, as a part of repository. So let's go over here and see that we have so from the repository you can I believe like this is the repository that we have. Let me just check it out. I believe this is the one that we have set it up inside the last week. Yes. So this is the repository that we have. You can simply select the repository from the search bar, or you can also select from the code and click on this HTTP that you have over here, so that it will select the repository URL. And that repository URL, we have to provide it over here. Okay, that repository URL we have provided, it will scan this repository. If it is a private, then it will ask you to set up the credential. It will ask you, it will provide you an error message saying that you have to, or a warning message saying that you have to set up the like authentication as well. And that authentication you can select it from here. So you can see like I have done with both of the things. One is a none. If your repository is a public, then you do not have to provide any credential. It will be publicly available. So it will go and select from whichever branch that you are trying to run over here. Mostly we'll be running a master branch or a release branch, whichever a branch that are available inside your repository, which is working as a collection of all the codes, whichever branch that will be available. Okay. So whenever you have to set it up the credential, you can click on add over here. You can simply click on add button and click on a Jenkins, which will take us to the Jenkins over here. Okay. Now in terms of the username and password that it asks over here is, nowadays it just takes us a password, which basically it have been introduced around 9 months ago, where it only requires a token to be provided. Okay, a GitHub token that it requires us in terms of setting up the username and password. Only the password. It does not require a token because password will consist, the token will consist of the complete details. Now for that, we have to generate a GitHub token. Earlier, around 9 months ago, like uh, around a year ago, it requires a username and password, which was basically the username and password that you use at the time of login inside your GitHub repository or Bitbucket repository. Okay, now it asks us to generate the token. So for that token generation, you can basically move to the your repository wherever you see over here the name, that means your GitHub dashboard from here. And from here again, go to the settings, or you can click on any of the repository. It will take us to that particular setting as well, the repository that you are basically trying to work on. You can go to this icon, which is a profile icon over here, and click on settings. Okay, and from here go to developer setting. It will be the last option, and on this particular page, on the settings page, the last option is known as developer settings. Click on this, and then there will be something known as a personal access token. The same option will also be available for your private repository, which you will be working inside the organization. The similar actions, similar step you have to provide. Okay, you can simply click on this personal access token, and you can click on a token classic. Fine grained token that have been introduced recently, which also generates the token. You can simply click on the tokens that you have to generate over here. Click on the tokens and then click on generate a new token over here. Generate new token. Fine grained will have a repository, only for the repository accessibility, one particular repository accessible, and this will be for the general purpose use. So you can click on generate new token. Now it will ask you the password. Not sure what is the password over here. So let me see if I'm able to recover the password. Yes. So it will ask you the password to generate so that it can authenticate you, and then provide a note. Note means for what purpose? Like you can just provide any kind of things. Let's say I'll just say it as Playwright. It just requires a name to be provided for the token that you are trying to generate. And then it will ask you an expiration. Do you want to expire it within a 30 days, 7 days, 60 days, 90 days, custom, or no expiration? So it always better that we can set it up a 1 year time of the expiration. So you can select from here and select 1 year from now. That you can select, like, let's say June 2026, the same date. It will give you, in terms of an expiration, selection of expiration, it will give you 365 days maximum time. Else you can select no expiration. No expiration means it will never expire. Okay. After that, basically, when you try to select, you need some kind of, to work with a repository, you need some kind of access over here. You have to select scope. When you select a find grain token, it will automatically select few of the scopes. Okay. What are the things that you require? You require some access. What kind of access? For that, you require reading the project that you are trying to work with. You also require, if you require an admin, then you can admin role, then you can basically click on this one. If you require deletion of a repository, you can click. If you require certain user repository, like you want to create user for your GitHub and so on, you require. But what are we trying to generate over here is, we are trying to generate it for complete repository access. Right? What Jenkins will do, Jenkins will not create your user inside the GitHubs. Jenkins will not delete your repository. So always try to take like the read-only access kind of things, where it can take the full repository access, like status, deployment, then commit access, and so on. It can get it over here. And from here, you can simply click on a generate token. To work with Jenkins, we do not require any other things to be available for the access of the Jenkins. This is basically required to work with the Jenkins. You can click on generate token. It will generate this token over here. So this one, this is the token that it has generated. And you have to again like copy paste somewhere. You have to copy paste, because after this, once you refresh this, after that it will not be available. So I'm just copy pasting over here for the safety purpose. Let's refresh this. After that, it will just say that you have some key that you have generated over here. Okay, if you have lost, then you have to again regenerate that. Okay, so that token that it had generated, you have to provide it over here as a password. You can probably give some dummy username over here, but that is again not required. And you can click on add button. So as soon as you clicked on add, you will see that the second one have been added over here. Earlier I had one, and now I have created one over here. So that you have to select if you want to work with private repository. Currently we have a public, so we do not require anything to be set it up as a part of credential. Okay. Now if you again further scroll down, you will see that branches to build. So you have to, by default, it will select the master branch that are available inside your repository. By default, it will select that particular master branch over there.
Hey, Praveen, one question. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes,
The
yes.
token that we provided, is it
Mhm.
applicable on the repository level or project level?
There are two things. One is a fine-grained, which will be available as a repository level, and the one that we have created is at like GitHub level, the complete complete GitHub level. That means your authentication level. You can provide anything, but I'd suggest to use classic token, which is having at global level. Global in the sense your user access level.
Right. That means I should be able to access all the projects that is available in GitHub
Right.
repository,
Right.
specific GitHub.
Yes. Right.
But
Yes.
if I wanted to just, render a specific project or specific repository project, then what should be the option, Praveen? Do I need to go to the particular repository and generate a token, or how that works?
You can do that in the same way. You can go to the repository, and from their repository, you can go to the settings, and you will also be able to generate from there. But generally speaking, like this personal access token works at your access level,
Mm-hmm.
your accessibility level. So they have introduced one fine-grained token.
Mm-hmm,
Fine-grained
mm-hmm.
token will be accessible at um, um, certain repository level access.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. which
Okay.
have again recently given the action access over here. Not sure whether it is working as per intended because I've never used. A token classic access whenever you provide. Also, Jenkins will never be able to access any other repository than whatever you have provided. Unless and until you provide, it will never be able to access any repository.
Oh, okay. Okay. Understood.
Okay. Even if you have given the credential over here as an admin level, it will not be able to do any other things other than the repository that you have provided over.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. In the next step, it by default select the master over here as a repository, which it basically consider as a master branch. That means every code will be stored inside this. That means all the commit will be committed to PR request, which is pull request, will be merged to this particular branch. If you have certain other branch, you can provide it over here. Let's say if you have release, you can make it as a release or any other branch that you are trying to select. Okay, now let's again move back to this. So now it says that, just a minute. So now it says that we have clicked on enter. We have also given the GitHub repository, GitHub credential over here. Right now, what we have to do is we have to set it up the again some installation that we have to do, right? So whenever you work with Playwright, we provide some kind of command to work with, right? And in that way, we have also set it up some kind of command for us. If you see inside the package.json, we have given some particular command that if you want to run inside the QA, you can run it by using certain things over here. If you want to run in staging, prod, and different actions that we have given over here, right? So here again, what we have to do is we have to provide the command that you want to execute in terms of in terms of working with Playwright. Okay, so for that, the step is go to build step and select execute shell. Go to a build step, select execute shell. I have written this step because even I do not aware, like, because it used to be like once in a while time. So I'm even not fully aware like what are the steps that we have to select. I have done it most of the time, many a time by now, so I know like what we have to do and so on. So next step, you can go to the build step over here, build step, and click on add build step. And here we have to click on execute shell. Okay, we have to simply click on execute shell over here, execute shell, and it will give us an option to run the command, whichever command that you are trying to run. How do we run the test case? Basically, npx playwright test. Inside our command line, we run it using npx playwright test. Anything that you are trying to ask? If not, just request, please mute yourself. Okay, so npx playwright test is what we generally try to write it over here. But as we have seen at the part of the GitHub, what it does is like whenever you are trying to, please mute yourself. Manimaran, can you please mute yourself? Thanks. Thank you. So what happened in terms of working with the Playwright is in our previous session, we know at the time of GitHub that whenever you are trying to clone something, it's always better that we run a command known as npm install, so that if there is something that we have to install, it automatically it will install depending on the package.json that you have provided, right? So in that case, go to the post build action. Go to the build step and select execute shell. Why do we select execute shell? Why not others? Because execute shell will be available for all the Windows, all the operating system that you are trying to work with. There are other option available inside this. Let me just close this. Inside this, if you see like this is only for the Windows. applicable over here. This is for Node.js script that you want to run. An execute shell is basically available for both Windows and Mac operating system. And here we have to first command, we have to run it as npm install, which will install all the dependencies. For the first time inside the Jenkins, whenever you try to run your project for the first time, it will install, and from later on, it will directly get from the cache. It will install everything and will store it inside the Jenkins cache. Okay, and from the next time onwards, it will start getting the downloaded things from the Jenkins cache. Okay. Second option that we have to give is whichever you want to run, whichever things that you want to run over here. So from our project, if you go over here, we have a full test case, which is saying npx playwright test over here. If you want to run test related to smoke, depending on if you want to run regression, you can provide the regression command and so on. So let's say we have test colon smoke suit over here, right? If you want to run a smoke suit, then you have to provide it over here, which is npm run, and then the key that you have given inside package.json. So if you have written in this way, which is npm run command, then it will go inside your package.json and find out if this key is available inside that or not. Okay, if it is available, then it will run that particular things. If it is not, then you can also provide like npx playwright test, which will run all your test cases that have been marked with that are available inside your project. Okay, so these are the two commands that we have to do. First, it will run this command, which is npm install, and after that, it will go to this particular command. Okay, and after that, you can go to a post build action where you also have to generate the report, right? Where you also have to generate the report as well. So you can go to the build command over here and click on this add post build action. Whichever report that you want to generate, you can generate it over here. One of them is also available as email notification. For an email notification, what it does is you have to set up the email as well. You can select this. What it will do is you have to select the email. You have to basically set up the email, and those email address also you have to provide it over here so that it will automatically send that as a part of like after the completion of execution, it will automatically send the report. Currently, we are interested in generation of an LDO report, so that you can select it over here, LDO report. And it says that the LDO report will be available inside target and LDO results. So it will, after the execution, the result will be available inside this particular path. If you want to provide any certain path over here, you can provide. By default, it will take this allure minus result that we can find it inside the result, which we'll see again in few minutes of time. These are the setup that we have to do inside the Jenkins to create a job. Okay, that is it. And then click apply and click on save. As soon as you click a save, a project will be added inside the dashboard over here. Go to the dashboard and you'll see the same project name over there as well, which is this one that we have selected over here. Okay, now if you want to execute this, you have to select this project, go to this project. You can manually do that as well, and we'll see like how does it do, how does it also do in terms of the automatically selection. Currently, we have not set up any kind of cron job. So to work with automatically set it up, we have to generate a cron job. We'll come back to this one. Cron job is something where you have to provide the value in this format, which says that you can generate from here. Generally, everyone takes the help of this to generate the cron job. Cron job is a job which will automatically run your or trigger your test automation. Okay, which will automatically trigger your test automation. You can select on every 5 minutes, or you can select on every 1 minute, or depending on the value that it has given, you can select on a daily basis, monthly basis, in a month, or whatever the value that you are trying to select. Okay. So before we start running, let me also see whether uh, did we make it as false or headless as a true. Okay, we have a headless as a true over here, and headless true means it will run in a headless mode. Okay, so from here you can go to your project and click on build now. Just click on a build now option, and it will start running the job that we have created right now. Within few seconds, you will see that it will generate the build number over here. So we have clicked on build now, build have been scheduled, and see it has basically started execution of the job. You can click on this one, whatever the build number that it is displaying, you can click on that and go to the console output. Click on console output so that you can see the execution that it started. First time, if we see, it has started doing this npm command, but before that, it goes to this particular project and then check out the repository that you have given, the branch name that you have given over here. Okay, that branch name, it will check it out from this particular repository. Okay, from there, it will check out the branch that you have given, which in our case is a master branch, which you can see like it has taken as the reference for a master branch. And then it started execution of the command that we have given. Okay, the last commit that we had given is Allure, added Allure report after our session, like we have completed other day. So that commit, it's saying that, okay, the last commit was this one, which we have also pulled it. And then it started working on first npm install, whatever the packages, jars that we had given, it has installed over here. And then it went to this one, npm run test smoke. From here, it went to the script, and from there, whatever the command that we had given, it has automatically pulled. And it says that running 10 tests using 1 workers. All the test cases, it is basically taking one by one. I believe all the test cases have been completed. If it basically, it says that 10 passed. There were 10 test cases, it have been passed successfully. Okay, and after completion of this, if everything goes well, then it says finished success. Allure report was successfully generated. And at which place? This is the place that it generated over here. Now let's go to the status over here. It have been marked it as success. Go to the status and click on this status from here. And then inside the status, you will see the total, like for who have run these particular things and so on, that kind of options you'll get. And you'll also get one option known as Allure report. Okay, or in the root folder as well, if you just click on the project name that you have created just now, if you just click on in the root, for after execution of the first time, you'll get Allure report. So you can click on this Allure report and it generates in the same way, however we had gone through the last time. Okay, now earlier we had seen inside the executor, there were nothing. If you go inside our project that we have created in our system, go to the Allure report generation. If it's still available, let me just show you so that you can also check it out. Other part like download and all that we are left out with, we'll finish it off within 30 minutes. So, it's become, go to the package JSON. We have given test Allure to generate the report. So we can simply run it as npm run test Allure, which will display us the result over here if it is available. So let me okay. So if you see over here, the executor is nothing. Means it says that you have run in your local system. Okay, but if you see inside the Jenkins, it says that the Jenkins, it have been done by the Jenkins. For which project? This particular project. Okay, so a LU report will be generated in the same way. We have a mistake over here inside this. We have to remove npx from here. Okay, so this is how we basically set up the Jenkins over here inside the like as a part of the job. Now, one more thing, you can click on the configure over here. And if you want to build it periodically, that means it has to run automatically. We have just built it by ran it by clicking on um, like build now. That means again that becomes a manual. But if you want to run it automatically as a part of your test automation, then you have to provide the cron job over here. Cron job is something like this. So depending on this value, it will be able to identify when it has to run basically the test automation job over here, or whichever job that you have set inside the Jenkins. It says that every minute over here. Right? So I'll just select it. Depending on your requirement, you can set it up. If you want to set it up like daily, every Friday at 12 a.m., you can run it like this. If you want to run on the day one of the month, it selects in this way, and so on. It will generate you whichever cron, whichever basically the command that you want to execute. Currently, I'll just select it out so that it will run in the next 1 minute, and we can also see the execution, that whether it is running automatically or not. Okay, this one that you have given it every 1 minute. I'll remove it after we see that whether it is working or not. Click on apply and click on save over here. Currently we have number one will come back. See, it started automatically execution now, which is number two. And you see it started execution and it will do the same operation. Let's come back after a few minutes. You will see more number of builds over here. Okay, so that's
Praveen, I have
basically
few
about,
questions.
yes.
Yeah, can you get back to the Jenkins? So yeah, so this is what I understood. It's kind of similar to the YML file that we create.
Exactly.
But tell me, here the target is the main branch. What if I
Yes,
wanted to target some of the feature branch and run into that? So
you can sell. You
do I
have to.
need to build the another job, or in the same job I can have the multiple uh, and I can switch along?
No, at a time you have to select one. At a time you can select only one branch over here.
Okay, so so each for each job they have, like for feature branch, some other release branch, I have to separately create one job for them, right?
No, no. If you are saying like if I have to select like every time the other options, then you can provide it over here. This one, this project is a parameterized, and here you can select whatever the choice that you want to select it over here. But this one that you have given over here, so you can just select one string parameter, and inside this string parameter you can provide, let's say, a branch name over here, and that branch value you can say, let's say this is for master. Okay, so that you can make it as a parameterized. Again, add an, looks like system becomes very slow. Again, you can
But
add
how
it.
this value will be passed?
Right, I'll come to that. So you can select another branch over here, and inside this, when you go over here inside the branch, you can just make it as a parameterized. Say that whatever the name that you have given over here for the branch, that you can provide it over here. If you have given master, you can parameterize it, and depending on the value that you are selecting, it will select that value.
No,
So let's say
yeah,
if you
I
want
got
to,
it. Like
hmm,
it's kind of like variable which I can change every time, and the
exactly,
same job I can utilize to run multiple ways.
right,
But I still have to modify it, right?
you have to modify it. every time whenever
So in
you want to
runtime, I
run.
can't do that. But so let's say if I connect it with the runtime, I can't do that. So for each branch, I have to create. Let's say I want to run on the main as well as my release branch. So two jobs will be
Two
required.
jobs you have to create it. Right. Yes.
Second thing, can we add some kind of hooks or trigger? For now, like either it will run by the cron job, schedule job, or manual. Can we
Hmm.
do something like if you make any pull request or push request, trigger this pipeline?
You can also do that. So inside the trigger, there are different options over here. One is a build, one is a hook that you can do at on pool SCM. You can again schedule this. You can also display some kind of hooks depending on some kind of like whenever you are trying to do depending on your pull request, merging of the pull request, that you can also do on this token. You can select depending on, like, this has given one option over here where it says that there was one option earlier we had seen. It was asking us to on a pull and push request. Hmm, build after other projects are built. Okay, so here you can trigger this on trigger. Trigger if the build is unstable. There was one option I believe I had seen in the paid version. Okay, I'm not sure where I'd seen, but there was some steps that you can provide it over here. Inside the build
Um,
step is
okay,
there was one
okay, another
option
thing.
which it gives us on a pull and push request you can start running.
Another thing is that in GitLab, we set up some of the environment variables
Hmm.
uh, based on the uses. And while writing the YML file, we reference those environment variable in our code itself.
Hmm.
So if I'm creating the job through this Git, how can I access environment variable, which is there in the GitLab or GitHub, whatever you say, uh, through this Git Jenkins?
You can use it, but advanced level of things have not been given over here. Few of the things it have been given. You can provide the configuration file over here for the environment variable. Configuration file you can provide it, and that
So I
whatever
have to
you have.
separately, oh, okay. So you're suggesting instead of putting my environment variables into the GitHub, I have to put that into the Jenkins so that it can access from
No,
here.
not inside the Jenkins. You can put it inside the GitHub itself, and that file you can select it out over here. That file target you have to provide it over here. Complete advanced level of setup it has not given inside the free version. It is having a basic support
Okay.
over here.
No, I thought that everything is there.
No. Advanced level of the things have been given inside the paid version.
So how widely this Jenkins is being used in the industry? I know Java people use it, but uh, Java Selenium people, but how widely it is used?
If I talk about in terms of now, then it have been decreased, but like few years ago, if I talk about 1 year ago, it used to be in a huge manner. Like most of the organization were using Jenkins. When I say most, like 90% of the organization. But then came like different kind of supports from the GCP, AWS, Azure pipeline as well they have created. So people started moving there. But it is not something that Jenkins is not being used. It is still widely being used by the organization. So if I talk about now, earlier 90, now it have been basically decreased to 50%. So it's still not sure about the larger organization, but mid-level and startup, if you go through, they are depending on this Jenkins itself.
So I'm just
Mid-level
wondering what
organization.
additionally it's provide, because whatever you are doing with the help of the Jenkins, I can write the YAML file in the GitHub and that will do the same work.
Right. There are n number of things that we can generate inside. If you see, like, once the paid version will probably come to know, there are n number of things that it has given inside the advanced version, where you can take the control of, you can uh, create like a lot of other things as well. If you want to run on a periodical basis, you can run that by creating a job. This Jenkins, why it exists basically? It helps us in running it automatically as and when we require. That we can also provide inside the YML, but for that also we require a setup of the Jenkins over there. Or if you are working with some other things, then some other like server or cloud version. In Jenkins inside the if you also write it Jenkins files inside that also you'll have to provide the complete setup of this. So if you uh, if let's say, like, there are I mean again, different type of CICD came into picture. To utilize this Jenkins, we have to do it however we have done over here. And this was earlier a user friendly. People used to directly jump in over here and create a project. So it became famous in the market.
Yeah, it looks like you don't have to write any code. You can
Any
simply
code,
set it
right?
like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is the paid version has some free trial, something like that you're aware of?
Free trial. When I used it last time, that was for 14 days. I'm not sure if it is still available or not.
Okay, anyway, I will check that.
Right, you can just check it out. I'm not sure whether it is currently available or not, but it was earlier available to set it up. But that at that time also it was requiring us to provide the credit card details. Okay, so this is how we basically set it up. We can play with. Let's move back over here, and you see, like, this had started running every time, every now and then for every minute. So let's go to the configure. This is why our system became really slow. Let's go to this. I'll remove for now. Let's remove this. Click on apply, click on save. Okay, so this is how we basically set up the Jenkins, and you can also see like other trends that we can see in the Allure. Okay, that's about the Jenkins that we set it up. Let's move to the other part quickly over here. Jenkins, we have a keyboard actions, downloading a file, and calendar selection. Calendar selection is again nothing. Let's go to this. I have discussed the similar concept in one of a batch which I've completed yesterday. So just to save a time, I'll just copy paste the things and will also understand from there. So this is the one that I finished it off yesterday for one of a session that have been again completed. I believe we have download file somewhere. Download PDF. So let's copy paste the both of the things and discuss one by one. I will create one file inside this, which I'll give the name as download file.spec.ts. Okay, let me also stop the Jenkins server. It becomes pretty slow, my system. Jenkins have been stopped. Okay, this does not record. Jenkins have been stopped. That means if I go and refresh this, it would have been lost. Okay, fine. So that's basically about Jenkins. You can try set it up. If you are getting again issues, probably you can again reach back to me. Plus, I'll record a session on my other laptop to show you that how does it works in the step by step, the complete two steps that we have missed in the past. Okay, let me also copy the other things that we can go through, which is keyboard actions from here. Again, the keyboard actions, one time I believe we have already gone through at the time of working with keyboard operations. Spec.ts. Working with DOM, what's that? Shadow DOM elements. But let's try to go through over here. Okay. So first go through with download file, which is a bit important. Probably you might get sometime this action to perform inside the test operation. Keyboard action, if you understand one, you will be able to write it everything. So that I'll take it the next one. Okay, so first I'll also go to this particular application that we have. So let's move to the application and we'll go through from here. So this is the application that we have, where we have one option known as generate and download PDF file. Okay, if you click on this, it will generate a download PDF, and then if you again click on this, this will generate download. With that name, it says that info.pdf. Info.pdf is the name that it is having. Similar things I've done yesterday, so it have available inside my system with info as well. Okay. Now this is the option. Let's say we have certain things that we have to download from the application and also set it up inside our framework that we are trying to work on, or project that we are trying to work on. First thing, as usual, however, we have to give in that way, which is the launching of the URL. And then we are, as a part of the step, we are trying to click on this generate PDF. You can also generate on this. You can click on this and you can probably generate the text file as well. Any type of file it will be able to download wherever you see inside the system. So here again, what did we do is, you're able to see my screen, you people, right?
Yes, Praveen.
Okay, because I see my system becomes pretty slow, so might be a lag. Okay.
I think, yeah, we see your screen, but not able to see the movement. Are you okay? You are in a page.
I'm on the same page. Let me again do stop and then go ahead. So you see my Visual Studio Code, right now?
Yeah.
Okay. And now I am on the this Google.
Yes, it is being moved. Google. I mean, the test automation testing page is there currently.
Right. Yes. The download files over here.
Yeah.
So this is the code. This is simple. You can write the locator to click on this generate and download file over here. So this is the locator that we have written. Now, earlier, if you remember, we have handled a couple of events. Um, one was basically a pop-up event, and second was a dialogue event. Right? Dialogue event was for alerts, and pop-up event is basically for new window or new page or new tab. Right? In the same way, whenever we work with downloading any file, there comes an event known as a download event. So as soon as you click on a download over here on this application, if you click on download, it generates a download event. That means it notifies the system that there is a download event appeared on the page, and that we have to handle. Depending on a download event, it will, whichever file that you have clicked, it will download inside our system and will place somewhere automatically. So that download event, we are trying to handle it over here. This code you should be familiar with, I believe. You can just use a wait for event, which will wait for this particular event to be downloaded, this particular download event to appear on the page. And there you do not have to write again await over here. Here we do not have to write await. If you write it, then it will keep on waiting for download event to appear. And then the next one that we have written is clicking on the download PDF file. So on this one, clicking on download PDF file is the locator that we have written. As soon as you click on this, it will immediately open the download event on the, that means immediately trigger a download event on the page. Okay, it will immediately trigger a download event on the page, and that download event will get stored inside this. It might take few milliseconds or some time to like completely handle the download event. So in the next line, we are saying wait for this download promises to be completed. That means just wait for this particular things to be completed, so that if we have to use this download like event that we are handling over here, if we have to use later on, we can use it in a better way. So what we are saying is wait here for download event action to be completely finished. Wait for event, we'll wait for the download event over here. What it says is emitted when attachment download started. So as soon as you click on download PDF file, it will start downloading the file, right? User can access basic file operation on downloaded content via the past download instance. That means whatever the event that you have provided over here, that handling of that event you can start as soon as it basically started the downloading part over here. Okay, and this will be emitted when you start downloading something on the application, and that we are handling, which says that I will return you the promise of the download. That means whether it have been successful or rejected, I'll start I'll provide you the response as well for this particular event which is download. So that response we are waiting over here to get the complete response. Here it might be, there might be a chance that the promise can be in the pending status itself. It might not have fully downloaded the file that we are trying to download, right? So that might take few seconds or few milliseconds of time to give you the complete response, or fractions of milliseconds. So that we are saying wait over here to get the complete response, and that we are storing inside this variable over here, which is download. Okay. Whenever we take the help of this going forward, we can utilize this download so that on the download instance, what like object, whatever the value, whatever the method in will be available, we will be able to utilize it. Else, there might be a chances that if you are not waiting over here, that can still be in the process of pending status itself. So it will start throwing us an error if you are trying to use this later on. The similar action that we had seen at the time of window handling. Okay, now generally if you see, it will download inside our download folder over here, like this, right? So it will simply download inside. Whenever you download something, it will go inside your local system and go to the downloads part. There it will install. There it will basically place the downloaded file, right? But what we are trying to do is we are trying to place it inside our framework over here, inside our project over here. Okay, so for that we have created a path. This should again be familiar with you by using a path over here, path as a package. Okay, this will be available in all the programming language, which help us in getting the path directory that you are basically working in the project or in the framework. Okay, path dot join will join the all the value that you have given over here. Underscore directory name will give us the directory that you are currently working on. Will give us the directory that you are currently working on, and that directory we have stored it over here. So this directory, if you see, will give us a value as inside the test module, right? So from here we are basically coming out from this test directory by providing two dots over here, and then we are saying create a download folder over here. That means we are just providing a download folder path to to whenever it downloads something, place it inside this download folder. But we currently do not have download folder available inside our project. Okay, so there we are taking the help of this FS module, one of a module available inside our system, which basically stands for file system. FS stands for file system. Modules enable interacting with the file system however we want to interact. So whenever you work with any of the files, let's say if you are trying to create certain directory, if you are trying to create trying to check some kind of directory are available inside your system or not, if you're trying to work with some like um, generally like some kind of directory you are trying to access, some kind of file that you are trying to access from your particular system, from your local system, then this FS will help us in performing that action. FS is a module which will be again, this will be picked from the node modules over here. We do not have to install this inside the node. It will be available after the installation of Node.js. Okay, so with the help of this FS, we are saying that just check whether this download directory is available inside our project or not. So whatever the downloads directory that we have formed over here, by joining these two, we are saying over here, check whether this download directory that we have created over here, which is inside the project, do we have a downloads folder available or not? And that with the help of FS, exist sync. Earlier, there was a method known as exist that had been removed and it had been replaced with exist sync. Exist sync is one of a method that it has given inside again the file system, which checks if the provided path that you have given over here is available in your current directory or not. Current directory means inside your project or not. Okay, and for that, what we have given is not symbol. Not means it will return us a true or false. This exist sync will either return you a true or false. If the whatever the value that we have given inside the exist sync as a path, this method as a path, if that is available, then it will give you a true value. If it is not available, then it will return us a false value. Okay, so we are trying to check whether this is available or not. If it is not available, then go inside the if statement and create the directory. So sometimes when you try to create a directory, we use one command over here saying that mkdir, right? Mkdir, and then you can provide the directory name. The directory will be created over here. Okay, so that is what we are saying. Using a method mkdir sync, which will create a directory, whichever the directory that you are trying to provide over here, it will simply go and create a directory inside your current project or directory that you are currently in. So what is the current directory? Is pwtspon. Okay, so it will first check whether the directory is available or not. If it is not available, then it will go and create this particular directory inside our framework or project over here. Okay, now the downloads that we have handled over here, inside this download, there is a method available known as download dot suggested file. There is a method known as suggested file name. Suggested file name is a method which will help us in returns the suggested file name for this download. That means if you see over here inside this download, when we try to do a download over here, this was pretty slow. So whenever we click on this download PDF, it generates with some name, right? Info.pdf. For my system, I have generated it like a couple of times by now. So it is saying 2, 3, 4, and 5. But whenever you work with test automation, for them it will be for the first time itself, so that it will give us a name as info.pdf, and this becomes the suggested name. Suggested name means the name that the PDF have been downloaded with. That value it will get us by using suggested file name. This will return us the downloaded file name. Okay, so in this step, in the if condition, what we are checking is if the downloads folder that we have created over, that we have given the path over here, is available inside our system or not. If it is not available, then go and create it inside the same like directory over here inside this with the name as downloads. And after that, we are also concatenating with the directory that are available over here, whatever the directory that we have created, which is downloads directory. Inside that, we are also joining with the name that we are getting from the downloaded files. This await has no effect over here. You can just say it as download dot suggested file name. What it returns us is the name that it has written after the download of the file, which was info.pdf, right? So that file, basically it will get concatenated over here in the same way. However, we have done a join part over here. Path dot join the directory that we have created, which is downloads, and inside that, this file name will be created over here. So at this point of time, this will become this particular path, whatever the path that we have given over here, which is this, and then it will go inside. It will take a forward slash, then it will go inside a downloads folder, and with the suggested file name, which is info.pdf, will be stored inside this. So that file path we are basically generating over here, so that we have again one method on the downloads that we have created, that we have stored over here. As a part of the downloading of a file, we have a method known as save as. Save as is a method which will simply copy the download to a user specific path. Whichever download that we have done over here, automatically it will be downloaded inside the download um, uh, download directory of our system. If you want to create a certain user specific, that means you want to customize this, that path you have to provide it over here as a part of save as. And that whatever the download suggested file name we have gotten over here, at this place it will go and save the downloaded file over here. Okay, and this was the step that I was trying to mention, and this is the, again, that we have written um, something which is assertion, saying that the file path that we have just saved, check whether that is existing or not. This fs.exist sync that we were trying to check over here, it will return us either true or false. So if it is available at this point, then we are basically comparing with to be truthy, is a non-synchronous, non-auto retrying assertion, which will um, try to check whether this response is true or not. To be truthy means true, to be falsy means false. So this is just an assertion that we are trying to check whether the file path that we have created over here to save the downloaded file is existing at this particular place or not. Exist sync will return us either true or false. We know that after saving this particular file, it should have to return a true value. So that we are saying to be truthy. To be truthy means ensure that the value is true in a Boolean context. So it will compare with this value to be true. And second, as usual, we try to do over here, check if the file path also consists of the PDF or whichever download whichever format that we are trying to download. Okay, in this case, this is basically how we handle the downloads. The only option, these are common in most of the programming languages, you'll be finding out. The only difference is how do we handle the downloaded events over here. In terms of downloading of a file, we just have to handle a download event, nothing else. Now let's try to run this. We have given to run in a headless mode, so it will run in a headless mode. If everything goes success, it will create a download folder over here, and then it will place that value inside this. So you can see like it is being going to have been navigated to this over here. After loading of the application, it have gone to other places and have been successful. So it says that one passed. That means even this validation have been successful, which is assertion that we have written. Now let's go to the downloads and you can see that these are created info.pdf over here. Okay. Whenever you again try to run this, it will again place it inside this. So if it is available, it will overwrite the file over here. So this is how we handle handle a downloads in terms of handling and download things. Any question over here for download file? This is simple, similar to only the thing that we have to do is download part validation. Okay. Now I'll move to the keyboard action over here, which I have given the complete list of whatever we try to do. We'll go through a few of the things and then we'll complete the things. For calendar, I think like it's close to 2 hours, might have been exhausted as well. So what I'll do is for calendar, it's simple. You just have to do some kind of things. I'll make a recording and will provide you people if the time is if we do not have time over here today, then I'll make a recording and will provide the link for that so that you can watch it through again. This is not the end of the complete things over here. As I said earlier in our previous sessions and in the first demo sessions, if you still remember that, you can still get back to me for any kind of help that you require at any point of time in setting up cloud things or any other things. I'll be able to help you. Okay.
Yeah, Praveen, it's already 2 hours. I have to drop. So
Right.
just wanted to ask how can I read, because I have some of the query that I need help with.
Mhm.
So I was wondering how I could reach out to you. Like, should I message you personally when you can
Yeah,
connect back?
you can message me on the WhatsApp. I'll reach out. Like we'll connect it over there.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
So you can just reach out to me and we'll connect it over there.
Okay.
For
Before you jump into the keyboard actions, there is small query I have.
right,
Just small.
you
It
had I
won't
think
take minutes.
Allure one.
Yeah. Just quick
Right.
questions I have.
Mm.
If you are okay, I
Yes.
can quickly share my screen and ask my question.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. Uh,
I'll just
you
take
guys are
five more
able to
minutes.
see my
Team.
screen, right?
Yes. Team, I'll just take more 5 minutes. We'll explain you the keyboard and then we'll enter. Other things, Playwright MCP as well. I'll provide you the recorded sessions. That is again a
Okay.
pretty
So,
simple. Yes. Go ahead.
yeah. So I will quickly tell you my requirement. So this is one thing I wanted to do. So whenever I'm including the test title, I want to include my test ID within that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my requirement. So for each of the test, I will include some Jira test title. And I want once the LUR report is printed, maybe I can show you I have printed some of them. Uh, maybe, or I can print it right away. Maybe, let's see. When I did some research, I tried to apply, but it didn't work. But I will quickly do that. So yeah, you can see that it's printed. I have created two suites, one for the UI, one for the API. And in the, let's look into the UI into inflow. Just like I have given the link and now it's putting me as a tag. My requirement is
Mm-hmm.
that once I click on it, it should be a clickable link and it should take me to my Zira project. That is what I want to do. I
So
can understand
this,
like it's required separate authentication in the Zira
right,
cloud.
right,
So that part I'm skipping because once you log into because my organization using the Microsoft SSO. So if I have a session on my browser, if I put on the link on the browser, it will auto log it. So I'm skipping the authentication part, but I just want to make it as a hyperlink with the test ID attached.
right.
So for that, I tried some of the method. Maybe I can show it to you. So I have written one custom utility, although I took some help from Google and search it out. So basically, what it does is that it sets the Jira URL. Within the title, it finds with this and look for this regex and pull out this one. And there is one function which comes with the leo.issue, which makes it as a clickable link, right?
Correct.
But somehow this package is depreciated. So it's not working. So I'm not able to find any alternative of this one. So do you have any suggestion like how can I implement this one?
Right. So Allure issue, whenever you provide with the Allure issue, that will basically give you the hyperlink value over there. Um,
Yeah.
we used to have directly available. We do not have to install it, but as you're working in the other package, it should be. But let me see inside this. It should be accessible automatically, which is
So usually like
good.
whenever we set up the Allure report, is simple setup or like something we can do additionally like customizable thing
We
within the
can do.
Allure itself.
We can do that. All
So
the
because I was
you can.
looking at the Google, yeah, it says that you have to modify the Allure property, a different property it has given. But I was not able to find that file in my project. Where is the Allure property?
You do not have to do any such things. Inside, what you have to do is you basically have to create a customized things to generate a
Just
hyperlink.
like any utility, just like
Any
the way I am
utilities.
doing it right
Right,
now.
right,
Yeah.
right. So there you have to customize it. I'll provide you the code for this. Allure issue is one of a method which will basically take your tags and make it as a hyperlink. I'll
Yeah,
I'll
even
check
if
for
you
this.
give me some rough code and post it on a WhatsApp group, I can figure out what exactly where exactly I have to
Sure,
modify it.
definitely, definitely.
And this is the
Okay,
framework I am building. I would need some help. Although it's running for the single stand, I have already set up the Git pipeline. Everything I have set up. All the linters I put in the place. In all the
okay,
utility methods I have already written. But I need it to elevate it to the multi-product level. So for that, I need your suggestion. What approach should I take? What should be the standard thing? Because these
definitely,
files,
definitely,
like, yeah. So that's why I wanted to connect with you. Maybe not this week,
definitely.
maybe next week or 2 weeks after. So that's the way I can message you WhatsApp and you can give
Right.
me the time on weekends, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, then great. Ravin, then I will reach out to you for my
Definitely,
requirements.
definitely.
Sure.
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. Okay, so able to hear me? Able to see my
Yes.
screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, I'll just take 10 minutes of time and we'll end up the session. So this is a keyboard actions, right? So whenever you have to perform any keyboard actions, you have to access the keyboard using page.keyboard. Page is the same page fixture. If you want to access the keyboard, you can simply say it as a page.keyboard. And there is different, like there is a few methods that we can take the help. One is a type is a method which will help us in typing something. It is similar to a fill method that we have inside the um, playwright. It sends a whatever value that you are trying to write it inside the type. So simply types instantly, which is copy paste kind of value. So type is a method on the keyboard. Simple page dot keyboard dot type will help us in typing something inside the input box. Now there is something known as a press that we have seen earlier when we were trying to work with a shadow DOM, where we have used a press keyword to click on enter button. Okay, so in that term we can also go over here and inside our project, which is you can simply use a press button, and press button accepts most of the keyword action that we are trying to use. F1 to F12, digit 0 to 9, key A to Z, backcode, minus, equal symbol, backslash, backspace, tab, delete button, escape button, arrow down, end, enter, all the other things that we are trying to basically click on the keyboard, you will be able to perform by using a press button. Press button accepts the value that you are trying to perform, and that value, once you provide it over here, it will perform that action. So here what we are trying to do is we are going to this particular application, and inside that we are using a playwright method over here to fill some user, and then we are what happens general. So let's move over here and then we'll see how does it work generally. So inside this, if you go over here, right? So you fill some kind of value, let's say test. And then if you want to go to the email field, you can simply click on a tab. It will take us to the next, right? So that is what we have given over here as a tab value. Press tab and then type something over here. Again, press tab and type something in the next field, and so on. Okay, that is what we are trying to perform over here by providing a tab. Go to the next and fill something. Go to the next and fill something. Inside the keyboard, inside a keyboard, we have a method known as type, which will help us in performing this validation. Okay. Second is just typing that we have just seen, like using the type keyword, type method, we'll be able to fill inside any of the input value. And the validation you have to do in the same way, however, we try to perform inside the playwright, which is to have value. Now, let's say there might be a chances that you also might perform Control A and Control B, Control A, Control C, and B. Right. So Control A is to basically select all. Right. So let's say if you go to this one, right. So how do we do is Control A will be selected. Control C is to copy, and if you want to paste it inside the next, you will simply say it as Control B. Right. So here again we are going to this particular, again same one, going to this locator and performing some entering value, which is playwright shortcut test inside the same text box over here. And again, after performing this, what we are doing is clicking on that particular field. Click on this field, okay, and then do a Control A over here. Control A will select all the value, whatever the value that you have filled, it will simply select that. Control C will copy, make a tab, and do a Control V over here. Control V will paste the value, right? So first thing that you always have to use a press method to perform anything. Press, and if you hover over on that, it gives us a value which is control. If you want to perform in any kind of Control A, Control V, you can use a Control plus O for writing some kind of things. Control A basically works in the however we have just seen, which is Control A over here. Probably might have given or we know like what it does. So you simply have to say it as Control plus A, and that is what we have given. Control plus A, Control plus C, which simply copy the value. And then we are going to the next value. We should have used tab over here, but we are going to the next field, clicking on that field, and then we are saying Control V over here. That means just paste the value. And then we are again validating whether this inside this email field is having the to have value or not. Okay, let's try to run this once. I'll just make it as a false. And others as well we have done in the same way. Similar kind of value that we have given over here to run it in a same way. So we have given a false, then go back to this. Okay, let's run it test dot only. I'll mark it as test dot only over here, and then we'll see how does it work. So we can go to this particular terminal. Okay, it came in. Again, we can click on this so that it will start running. So it will launch the URL that we have given and then fill some kind of value. We'll do a control A, control C, and will be done over there. And every action that you are trying to perform, you will have in the same way. We have to perform in the same way over there. So it launches the URL, it is launching, and will fill some kind of value inside full name, and will do a control A, control C, and after that, see, it will do a control A, then control C, pasted value over there inside the email, and that's it. Okay, so it has again done the similar like keyboard action that we have done using the fill earlier. And again, if you have to perform, let's say arrow left, arrow down, arrow right, those kind of value, you can provide it over here in the same way. However, we say arrow left, arrow down, it has given an answer. Arrow right, arrow down, up arrow, which is arrow up, and then arrow left will be there. That it has not given, but etc. it has given, so others also comes into picture. Okay, so if you want to do what we are trying to do over here is we have written some hello world, but we have missed to write O over here. Okay, so for that we are going, how do we write it over here in general by using a keyboard is arrow left, arrow left, arrow left, and then place it O. Right, the same action that we are trying to perform 3 times arrow left over here, you can use for loop as well to perform this action 3 times, and then again typing O over there to validate it becomes hello world. If you again try to run the same thing, you'll see that first time it will fill this value, then will perform arrow left 3 times, and then it will add O after the W, so it becomes world, and that world it is trying to validate. Okay, and then backspace, delete, whatever you have to use. You just have to use one method known as press, and that will help us in performing all the validations. So see, it has performed like left arrow, which is arrow left, and everything happened done over here. If you want to delete something, let's say one character, you can simply use a backspace. If you want to perform multiple times arrow down, you can use an arrow down over here. Backspace is to delete one single value. And then after that, I'm also trying to type something. So let's see this execution as well, which will simply do a backspace. Delete the last value that we have given as X over here, which is a wrong value. And then after that, it will delete the X and return the T value from there. We'll see that it will fill first pay instead of playwright X, deleted X and entered T over here. Okay, and this is for we are again going to the same one of the application where we are trying to locate that particular element and filling R value. So when you fill R, it will give us some kind of suggested value. So let's go to the application once and see how it works. going to this, and if you fill some value, let's say R, it displays some kind of value, right? From here we are making arrow down, arrow up you can do, and then click on enter so that that value will be selected, right? So that is what we are trying to trying to perform over here, which is when we are saying that using a for loop, perform this for 2 times, which is arrow down, and whichever value is there, just click on enter on that. Okay, so now let's do again. It will go to this particular URL, fill the value which is R, perform 2 times arrow down, and click on enter, which is press. So to use all the keyword actions, you can simply use a press method over there, and that will accept all the values that you are trying to perform, any kind of keyword actions. Okay, so it will fill the value on this application as R, whatever the value that we are trying to fill. It fills over here R, then we'll do perform a key down and selected the last value, which is purple. Okay, so this is how we basically work with the keyboard actions. You can just go through with this. I'll push the code. You can just go through with this, go through the recording as well. And then if you have any sort of questions or if you have any like doubt or anything, you can again reach back to me. Okay, so that's pretty much about the session. We have like taken 2 hours of time, more than that. Again, this is not only this is not basically the like we have completed the course, but there's not, there are a couple of things. One for calendar selection and MCP server as a part of the like extra things I wanted to provide. My token have been expired, but I'll create a demo with other token, and then we'll provide you that again a recorded session so that you can go through with that. Apart from that, if you require any kind of help, you can again reach back to me and I'll be available for that. Okay.
Yeah,
Any question for now?
yeah, I have one question.
Yes.
Yeah, as of now, like in the Playwright, whenever we used to write the test cases, we are writing the code directly over there, right? But in the like in Java Selenium, what it happens, they create the like usually write the code into the try and catch block, and then they if they find any error, they try to throw the error. So why in the Playwright session we never tried this, or is it not necessary to do in the Playwrights?
No, it is
Like
basically not
handling, I'm
necessary.
trying to say.
It is in terms of a playwright, it is not necessary to write by using try and catch. Try and catch we generally do is catch the error and then write some kind of customized error, customized some kind of value so that it will be logged inside the logging file or inside the report. But if you see that in terms of playwright, it generates in a complete detailed understanding. What is the error of the, what is basically happened in terms of the test execution, why it have been failed, where it have been failed, everything it is basically able to log it out automatically. That is why we do not take the help of try and catch. In terms of Selenium, it will just give you stale element exception or some
Yeah.
other things, which generally other people might not understand if they have not gone through the complete understanding of Selenium. But in terms of
Okay.
playwright, it gives you, okay, the timeout error happened because I was waiting for certain things inside the code at certain number of lines inside your code. So that code also it will automatically attach inside the report, right?
Okay.
That is why we are not writing using try and catch. But if you see inside this, in terms of this one, we have created in a framework manner, right? If you have gone through
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
framework,
That's
right, right. And
so
wherever
usually
it
in application
requires,
also we need to write the test cases in the same manner, right? Over there also we don't need to apply any exception handling over there.
100%, 100%. Exactly same. That is what I said earlier as well. However, we have defined in the same we will be writing. Wherever it requires us to write the exception handling, there we have written, which is inside the getting the file over here. So here we have to write it exception handling, because probably sheet name might not be available, or the path of the Excel that you have given, which might be wrong.
Mhm.
That Playwright
Yeah.
will not be able to identify, because that is not a part of Playwright.
So
Okay,
usually we'll write the try and catch in the pure TypeScript class, right? Not into
in the
the
pure TypeScript, right?
TypeScript, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, got it. If I had any questions, I'll definitely reach out to you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Great.
Hey,
In
hey,
yeah.
Praveen.
Hey, hi, hi.
Yeah, one question from my end. Uh,
Mm.
like, how to explain this, the Playwright framework? Last time we discussed, you mentioned that we just call it as a Playwright framework. Is there any the name, the keywords that we have to provide when we are explaining the framework to the interviewer, or some kind of if it is a Selenium BDD Cucumber framework, we say that it's a test ng and other stuffs as well,
Right.
right? But here we
Understood.
use a page
Understood.
object model. Yeah.
Understood. So whenever you have to explain, you have to first say that we have used a Playwright framework using a page object model design pattern, and then you have to explain the complete details of page object model. Okay. And when, if they counter a question like what is Playwright framework over there, then you have to say that the configuration that we have created over here, which is playwright.config.js, is the main Playwright framework, which basically gives us the complete configuration for the complete project framework, which also have now there will be again counter question like again, so this is one key point which you have to mention, that the configuration file which will be able to validate most of the things. Second, when you talk about a framework, you have to say that Playwright also provides us a test function and an expect function, which help us in writing the code and validation of the writing the test case and validation of a test case. Okay, that is where Playwright uh, becomes a framework. When you talk about a test ng, right? So test ng, what it has provided? It has provided some tags, some hooks, right? And that is where it came into picture that test ng is a framework. In the same way, you just have to mention that a Playwright is also a framework which provides us test function and expect function to write the. First, you have to explain page object model, and then you have to come back to the framework where you have to say that the Playwright is itself a framework which provides us a test and expect function to write the test case, and it also have certain hooks that it has given to take the control of the uh, like test execution plus writing the framework.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. So
Uh,
generally, if you see BDD, it has given some tags, some hooks. TestNG given some tags, some hooks to control the execution of the test case. That is what known as a framework. When some tools have given you a feature to write the test case and control the test case, becomes a framework.
okay. Understood. And one more thing, Praveen, my understanding is that in organization, those who have implemented the Playwright, they may be using the API and UI testing together in a single framework. Is that
Yes.
right? Is that the way? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So if that is the case, will we be having a similar setup in the execution with the form structure, or you will be using a tags to differentiate the execution of the API and UA execution. So how do you basically differentiate the code base and the test data when
Right.
both the things are in the same framework?
Right. So first thing that you will see is the layer will always remain same. Okay,
Okay.
however you have created, layer will always remain same. The extra that will be creating to uh, check for only the APIs will create one more layer which have a name as API or service layer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that API or service layer will consist of all the test case related to APIs. So that will be one segregation, that means separation of the test case from UI to API. The layer will be different. We do not have to create it inside pages over here and test. Inside the test, you can create one for UI. There will be definitely one will be a folder for UI and one folder will be for API.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, inside this folder, you can also create folder as well. Here you can say it as a UI, take all the UI part inside this, and you can also create an API as well inside this test folder. So this API will be used for the API test case execution.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Third thing is, now as you are referring to the same repository, so you have to use a tag based for the execution. All the test case with API will have a tag as API tag, and that will identify the test case for the API tag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So that
Got it.
is how it will be.